What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Insight. Alex Volkanovski just dropped a brand new breakdown of Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. So let's get into what he said and the biggest takeaways. Volk started by praising Islam's fight IQ, saying the guy just knows what to do. According to him, Islam's reactions are pure instinct. He's been in those positions so many times that his body just automatically adjusts. That's what separates him from everyone else. The awareness, the timing, the composure, it all comes naturally. But Volk didn't just hype up Islam. He showed Jack some love too, especially for his insane scrambling ability. Volk said JDM's transitions and movement on the ground are elite for a striker, but still made it clear that Islam operates on an entirely different level. He even warned Jack not to get too confident in the grappling exchanges. Keep the fight standing if possible. And in classic fashion, Islam fired back with nothing but respect. He called Volk a crazy warrior and one of the greatest fighters of all time, saying he could go non-stop all day. That mutual respect between those two just proves why they're built different. Championship mentality, killer mindset, and zero ego. Alright, let's roll the clip.
Jack's great on the ground, but we don't want it to go to the ground. Even though Jack's good there, that's Islam's world. That's all he does 24/7. Since he was walking, like literally, so he's probably wrestling before he started walking. That's how long these guys have been doing this for. Do we want to go there? You know, be okay with the scrambles if you're comfortable enough in the scrambles and keep that urgency and use your weight and hopefully wear on him. Obviously, I was able to tire him from all them little scrambles. Can Jack be effective where he can burn him there, take the gas away? Again, if he's going to be complacent in the wrestling and then wait till he's on his back to build up, you're not going to tire Islam there. But Jack is going to understand, I ain't even letting you try to get this on the floor. I'm going to try and beat you on the feet. I'm going to keep you away. I'm going to have nice strong hips. I'm going to be very stubborn on the feet, stubborn on the wrestling. If it goes down, stubborn to build myself back up. And he's, again, great grappler as well. So he can definitely do that. But Jack needs to keep it on the feet, and that's what he wants. You just need my pick. You know where I'm going. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Referee Herb Dean just broke his silence on the UFC eye poke controversy and finally gave us the inside scoop. He sat down on Michael Bisping's podcast and revealed some major details about what's been happening behind the scenes. Herb explained that the rules themselves aren't really the issue. The real problem is the lack of consistent enforcement. But after the disastrous eye poke incidents involving Tom Aspinall and Waldo Acosta, the UFC and the Athletic Commission have been grinding non-stop to review and tighten up those rules. And according to Herb, those meetings are far from finished. More changes are definitely coming. All of this has added even more intrigue to the upcoming Aspinall versus Cyril Gane rematch, expected in early 2026. Their first fight was highly competitive before that controversial eye poke ended it, so the hype for part 2 is already through the roof. Herb also said fighters need harsher penalties when an eye poke happens during an offensive attack. Most eye pokes are defensive, accidental reactions, but the Acosta situation was different. That poke happened while he was attacking. Herb even told referee Mark Smith, who was officiating that fight, that the match shouldn't have restarted without a point deduction.
We hear guys, warning, stopping, timeout, hard warning. Usually that gets a better effect. But we're going to do, I think the other thing that's going to happen is we're going to get a little bit more specific as to what that foul is. Because when you're fighting, of course, you can have your hands like this if they're purely defensive, if they're in. But we're going to get a little bit more detailed into what's going to be a foul if someone has their hands out. And there's a couple of things we want to get together and discuss it in person, because we discussed it over a Zoom. I think it's some of the things we need to go over in person. But so the meetings aren't done, but already as it is, we are going to start getting a lot more strict with the rules that we already written, because we already have a rule, but the rule is not being strongly enforced. The other thing that we have is we have replay. And so if you're getting that feeling, the guy who's on the replay is like, hey man, I've seen those fingers out, Yeah. And I think you're going to see more points being taken.
Jon Jones has officially landed in New York, but this trip isn't just for media appearances. Multiple MMA outlets have reported, and Jones's longtime Russian training partner, Rustam Kabalab, has now confirmed that Jon is preparing to link up with Islam Makhachev and Khabib Nurmagomedov for several intense training days ahead of UFC 322. This isn't Jon's first connection to Dagestan. Years ago, he traveled there to visit gyms, hold seminars, and train with young prospects, but back then, Islam and Khabib weren't part of that experience. This time, things are different. Team Khabib is expected to host Jon directly at their own facility, making this one of the most stacked gatherings of champions you could imagine. The news comes straight from Rustam Khabalab, Jon's former training partner at Jackson Wink and a proud Dagestani. In an interview with Vesnik MMA, Khabalab confirmed that both Islam and Khabib will be present during Jon's visit, setting the stage for an elite meeting of minds and future footage that every MMA fan is praying to see. And if we're lucky, we might get exactly that. Jon Jones rolling or sparring with Team Makhachev. Just imagine the clips that could come out of that room. There's also a deeper link between the two camps that most fans overlook. Javier Mendez, head coach of Team Khabib, has trained several fighters who previously came from Jackson Wink, the same gym that helped shape Jon Jones into one of the greatest fighters to ever step inside the octagon. Here's what Rustam Khabalab told Russian media. Jon is already flying over here. We expect him shortly. As you know, we're good friends, and for a long time we've talked about him visiting the Dagestani guys for a second time to get some sessions in with the boys. The time has come. When asked whether Islam or Khabib will be there, Rustam said, "Of course, everybody will be here." Islam Makhachev is officially on a mission for revenge. In a recent appearance on Main Event, he made it clear that his mindset for UFC 322 goes far beyond defending the title. Islam wants to avenge his Dagestani teammate Ramazan Emeev, who was defeated by Jack Della Maddalena earlier in their career. For him, this fight is personal. Makhachev also addressed the news of Jack working with BJJ mastermind Craig Jones, and Islam didn't seem bothered at all. He said you can't just bring someone in for a few months and suddenly become a grappling expert. At this level, years of dedicated elite preparation are what truly separate champions from everyone else. Islam pointed out that it's the same thing we saw with Chimaev and Duplessis. Temporary fixes and short-term tricks don't beat fighters who have built their skill set over a lifetime. He also touched on the pound-for-pound rankings, saying he doesn't care about them, doesn't agree with them, and views them as something made up by random people. For Islam, results speak louder than lists. So what do you think, MMA fans? Do the current pound-for-pound rankings actually matter? Is Ilia Topuria the rightful #1 right now, or is it all just noise? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Jack said after his most recent fight that he wants to defeat you as revenge for beating Alexander Volkanovski. What was your thoughts when you heard that?
Yeah, he will try, man. But I have also one of the guy from Dagestan who Jack beat, Ramazan Emeev.
Yeah.
That's why. If you want to give back from the Volk, I will give back from the Ramazan.
Right. And does that genuinely motivate you?
No, it's no. Man. Some things what motivate me is the second belt, to become UFC double champion. I don't think about the rankings, because who make the rankings? I cannot make rankings.
Yeah.
I can push myself to be UFC champion, but I cannot push the rankings, Some people make these rankings. I don't believe these rankings, and what on my hand I can do, I will do.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to MMA Analysts and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one from Chris Breeze 8875. People need to stop talking about the Raja situation already. It's f***ing annoying if he hasn't been locked up. Chances are he isn't. The second one from Robert Gionis 9275 says, I'm gonna talk about Conor. Glad he's sober and doing something patriotic. Hope he wins. And the last one is from Sigmon M3P, says, Conor would have won being president if it was 2016 or 2017, but he's a complete joke now. Those were the top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up. See you in the next video.